Imotekh and Illuminor. Time for another Win with Necrons video.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, another Necron tactical video for you, and in this one we're going to have a look at Imotekh the Stormlord and Illuminor Szeras. Before that though, if you would like to keep up to date with the wonders of Warhammer 40k, then please give me a sub and hit the bell button so you don't miss an upload. Okay, so two more HQ choices for you today, and we're going to have a look at Illuminor and Imotekh. Now Imotekh is the most expensive HQ choice that we have in the index, so let's start off by taking a look at his stats. Okay, so Imotekh has a movement of 5 inches. He's weapon skill and ballistic skill of 2+. He's strength and toughness of 5, and he has 6 wounds. He's got 3 attacks, and now with the FAQ he's leadership 10. He also has a 2+ save. His faction keywords are Necrons and Sutek. His keywords are character, infantry, overlord, and Imotekh the Stormlord. Okay, so Imotekh's stats look pretty decent, but he does come in at 228 points. That's a reasonable amount of points for just one single character. Having said that, personally I've been using Imotekh quite a lot. Now the reason why I've been drawn to Imotekh is because I've had a bit of an issue myself with sniper guns. So I've been taking the usual cryptics and overlords, etc. But my buddy's had quite a few sniper guns and he's been taking those models out quite easily. And that's been a problem for me. So I had to look at something which is going to be a bit more survivable against those sniper guns. And Imotekh fits that bill quite nicely. A, because he's got a 2+ save. Now not only does he have that 2+ save, but he also has a 4+ invulnerable save with a phase shifter, which is really nice to have. Now of course that isn't going to help against the mortal wounds, but still those saves are great, especially coupled with 6 wounds. So he's got a good chance of taking some firepower. If you pop him into cover as well, that can obviously be really useful. Now not only that, he has a D3 wounds living metal, so if your opponent doesn't take him out in one turn, you've got the chance of getting a reasonable amount of wounds back. And that is very nice indeed, and indeed it has stopped my buddy from actually targeting my HQ because he's not had much success with Imotekh on the table. So I'm finding Imotekh to be quite a useful HQ choice. But let's have a look and see what else he's got. So weapon wise, he has the Gauntlet of Fire, which is basically an 8-inch flamer that automatically hits. It's strength 4 and it's an assault weapon, and it does D6 hits, so pretty reasonable. And on top of that he's got the Staff of the Destroyer. So this is basically a buffed Staff of Light. So it has 3 attacks still, but it's 18 inches and it's strength 6, -3 AP, and does 2 points of damage. Not only that, but you can use it in close combat, and again it's -2 AP and does 2 points of damage. So a pretty nice weapon. But not only that, he has some quite cool special abilities. So Imotekh has Bloodworm Necro Scarabs, which basically means any unit of flayed ones with the Sutek keyword within 12 inches of him can reroll 1s. Now that is a very nice ability. It's still hard to get those flayed ones and Imotekh together in that little blob unless you're holding back your flayed ones and waiting for your enemy to come to you. Now we've talked about flayed ones in a previous video, so I'll link you up to that video just there. Now unlike some of our other special characters, Imotekh does have My Will Be Done, which is a really nice special rule, and it's great to see it on this guy, especially if you consider the points. And some people say, well, that's the reason why I don't take a particular character, because it doesn't have that rule. It is a very good special rule, so that's +1 to the dice roll on either advance, on charging, but most importantly on shooting. So within 6 inches, infantry stroke Necron units can add 1 to their dice roll when shooting. Really useful feature. So we definitely want that on this guy, and that's great to see that he's got it. Now Imotekh isn't called the Stormlord for nothing. He is the Lord of the Storm, and he has a special rule for that. I'm actually going to read that rule out for you. Once per battle in your shooting phase, Imotekh can call the storm. When he does so, pick an enemy unit within 48 inches of Imotekh, other than a character, and roll a d6. On a 1, nothing happens, but on a 2+, that unit suffers that many mortal wounds. Then roll a d6 for each enemy unit within 6 inches of that unit. On a roll of a 6, that unit suffers d3 mortal wounds. Now that is really nice. Now I always look to use this on turn 1, A, because I don't want to forget to use it, and B, I don't want Imotekh to die and then not use it. So I would suggest using it straight away on your first turn. Now it does a d6 mortal wounds. It can't target a character, but what you're going to be looking to target is your enemy's big thing. Ideally, something which is standing next to lots of other units to try and take advantage of that bubble. If you can roll a 6 on those extra units, that's d3 mortal wounds. That's really nice to have. So the storm can't target characters. However, there's nothing in the rulebook that says those ricochet shots can't hit a character, because effectively you're not targeting the character, they're just ricocheting off. Now there is no FAQ on this, there's no rules written on this, but I am very interested to hear how you've been playing this particular rule. Maybe you've got another rule from another army that sort of matches up to this one. So the question is, can those ricocheted shots hit characters from your initial shot which can't target a character? Let me know in the comments box how you've been playing it, how you've seen others play it. I'll be very interested to hear that. Right, that is Imotekh done. So now we're going to have a look at Illuminor. Okay, so Illuminor can move 6 inches. He's got a weapon skill and ballistic skill of 3+, and a strength and toughness of 4. He's got 5 wounds with 4 attacks, and a leadership of 10 with a 3+ save. His faction keywords are Necrons, and his keywords are character, infantry, cryptic, and Illuminor Szeras. So Illuminor comes in at 143 points, and he does have a reasonable amount of wounds, 5 wounds. He doesn't have the save that Imotekh has though, so he's got that 3+ save, and there's no invulnerable save. However, he does have some nice special abilities, and even Games Workshop were raving about these special abilities when they were previewing the Necron Index. Now before we look at the special abilities, let's have a quick look at his weapon, because it's actually got a really nice weapon. So he's got the Aldridge Lance, and this is a 36-inch range, strength 8 weapon. It does -4 AP and d6 damage. Now for a Necron army which potentially struggles to take out tanks, this is a nice additional tank hunting weapon, and you can use it every turn. It's not a once use only, so that's really nice. Now in close combat it's -2 AP and it just does 1 point of damage, but this weapon is all about shooting, and I think that additional long shots in the Necron force can be really useful, and I think that's a great plus point for Illuminor. Now Illuminor is also Master Technomancer. Now this is like Technomancer, but it's a bit better. So this works on any Necron unit. Yes, that includes Praetorians. So any unit within 3 inches of this guy with the Necron keyword can +1 to their RP roll. Now you can't combine that with normal Necromancer, so no +2 to RP rolls, just +1, that's the maximum. Now the last and potentially biggest thing that Illuminor has is mechanical augmentation. Now this has been buffed from the previous edition where it was a once use only, because you can use this every turn. So basically what Illuminor can do is he can buff other units of Immortals and Warriors. He can buff 1 unit each turn, and it's done at the end of the movement phase, which is great because it's only 1 inch range, so you're at least able to move a unit close to Illuminor ready to do the buff. Now there's 3 buffs and it is random, so you roll a dice at the end of the movement phase and you can either get +1 to strength, +1 to toughness, or +1 to ballistic skill. Now the least useful one is probably +1 to strength, unless you're planning on getting your Immortals or Warriors into close combat, probably isn't going to help you too much. However, +1 to toughness, that's pretty decent. At least it means that any bolt fire that comes into you going to have to wound you on 5s rather than 4s. That can make quite a big difference, so that's quite a nice defensive thing to have. And then of course +1 to your ballistic skill, which is probably the most useful one, allowing us to shoot on 2s for Immortals or Warriors, and of course combine that with My Will Be Done and you've got some awesome shooting there. And the fact that you can do that every turn is really great. It means you can actually buff your phalanx over 2 or 3 turns quite rapidly, and that is really nice. So overall I think Illuminor is a great choice, especially if you're going to be playing lots of Immortals and Warriors and just have like a big flanks moving up the table. I think ideally you want him supported with a Cryptic, the Cryptic offering that 5+ invulnerable save to the units, and then obviously Illuminor buffing the units. That's actually quite a nice, powerful combination. And we are going to talk about Cryptics in the next episode, so keep an eye out for that. Beam me up! And any units within 3 inches with Necrons, and any unit within 3 inches of this, and any units within 3 inches of this, and any units within 3 inches of Illuminor and any units within 3 inches of Illuminor can +1 to their RP roll.